AITA for screaming at my neighbor to get the F off my property after she fixed my laundry room? I, 41F, never thought I'd be the type of person to post my drama on the internet, but I am shaking right now. I honestly don't know if I'm the asshole, if I'm losing my mind, or if I'm living next to a legitimate psychopath. My husband, Mark, 43M, and I bought our forever home about 6 months ago. It's in a quiet cul-de-sac with lots of trees and a good distance between houses. We were ecstatic. The market has been absolute shit, and landing this place felt like a miracle. The only downside, or what I thought was a minor downside, was the next door neighbor, Linda, 60SF. When we moved in, Linda was right there. Literally. The moving truck hadn't even ramped down before she was standing in our driveway with a casserole. She seemed nice enough, maybe a little lonely. She's a widow, keeps an immaculate garden, and is always dressed in these floral blouses. She told us she's the eyes and ears of the neighborhood. I thought, great, a built-in security system. I was an idiot. It started small. She'd catch me getting the mail. "Oh, honey, that color doesn't do you any favors?" Or "I saw Mark coming home late last night, everything okay at work?" Just intrusive enough to be annoying, but polite enough that if I snapped, I'd look like a bitch. Mark told me to ignore it. "She's just an old lady, babe. Be nice." 2 weeks ago, Mark and I planned a 10-day trip to Italy. It was our delayed honeymoon/anniversary trip. We were thrilled. Linda caught wind of it because she watches our house like a hawk. She insisted on watering my indoor plants and bringing in the mail. I hesitated. I really did. But Mark said, "Come on, it saves us hiring a sitter, and she's harmless." So, against my gut instinct, I gave her the spare key. I gave her explicit instructions: water the plants in the living room and kitchen on Wednesday and Sunday. Put the mail on the counter. That's it. We got back yesterday. We were exhausted, jet-lagged, and just wanted to crash. I unlocked the door, dropped my bags, and walked into the kitchen to get a glass of water. I froze. My kitchen was different. Not dirty. Not burglarized. Just wrong. The coffee maker was on the other side of the counter. The toaster was hidden. My spice rack, which I organize alphabetically because I love cooking, was rearranged by color. I felt a cold prickle on the back of my neck. I opened the silverware drawer. Rearranged. Spoons where forks should be. I opened the pantry. All my dry goods were moved. My snacks were on the top shelf. I'm short, I keep them low. I yelled for Mark. He came in, rubbing his eyes. "What?" "Look," I said, gesturing wildly. "It looks clean," he said. He didn't get it. Men never get it. "She moved everything, Mark. She rearranged our kitchen." I went to the living room. The throw pillows were different ones I keep in the closet because I hate them. My books on the shelf were restacked by height. I marched next door. I didn't even wait. I pounded on Linda's door. She opened it, smiling that sweet, sickening smile. "Welcome home. Did you have a lovely time?" "Linda," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Why is my kitchen rearranged?" She waved a hand dismissively. "Oh, honey, I just couldn't help myself. I went in to water those sad little ferns of yours and I saw how cluttered it was. It just didn't flow. I utilized the space better for you. You're a busy working woman, you don't have time to keep a house properly." I saw red. "You went through my drawers? You moved my food?" "I organized," she corrected, looking offended. "And I found some expired crackers, so I threw those out. You really should check dates, dear. It's dangerous." "Give me my key," I snapped. "Now." Her face fell. "Well, I don't see why you're being so hostile. I spent 3 days scrubbing that grout for you." "I didn't ask you to scrub the grout. I asked you to water plants. Give me the key." She went inside, huffing, and brought the key back. She dropped it in my hand without touching me. I was just trying to be a good neighbor. Mark would appreciate a clean house, even if you don't. I slammed the door in her face. I went back home and spent the next 6 hours putting my kitchen back together, rage crying. Mark thinks I'm overreacting. He said, "She's just eccentric, she did us a favor cleaning, even if it's weird." He thinks I was too harsh demanding the key back like that and that I've created a feud over nothing. I feel violated. Someone was touching my things, judging my snacks, moving my underwear. Yes, she folded the laundry I left in the dryer, I found out later. I feel like my sanctuary is tainted. Mark is sleeping on the couch because he told me to calm down and I told him to fuck off. AITA for blowing up at her? Update 1. It's been about 3 weeks since the kitchen incident, and things have gone from bad to I need a drink at 10 a.m. First off, thanks to everyone who validated me in the first post. To those saying I should have changed the locks immediately, I did. The day after I posted, I had a locksmith out. Mark rolled his eyes the entire time, acting like I was fortifying a bunker against a Girl Scout, but I didn't care. I wanted to know that she couldn't get back in. Because here's the thing, I don't think that was the only key. A few days after the locksmith left, I was working from home. I'm a graphic designer. My office faces the side yard, which borders Linda's property. I was on a Zoom call with a client when I saw movement out of the corner of my eye. Linda was in my bushes. Not her bushes. My bushes. The hydrangeas right up against my office window. She was pruning them. With her own shears. I muted my call, excused myself, and opened the window. Linda. What are you doing? She didn't even jump. She just looked up, wearing these massive gardening gloves. These heads were dead, dear. They look sloppy. I know you're busy with your computer games. So I thought I'd help. Get out of my garden, I said. Do not touch my plants. They're going to get a fungus if you don't aerate the soil, she said, snipping another bloom. Snip. Linda, leave. Now. She sighed, the exaggerated sigh of a martyr, gathered her clippings, and walked back to her yard. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part happened last Tuesday. I ordered a package. Just some skincare stuff, nothing exciting, but it was expensive. I got the notification that it was delivered at 2 p.m. I got home at 5:30 p.m. No package. I checked the bushes. Nothing. I checked the tracking photo, it was clearly sitting on my doormat. I walked next door. I didn't want to, but I knew. I just knew. I rang the bell. Linda answered, wiping her hands on an apron. Did you take a package from my porch? I asked. Oh, hello. I didn't take it, I rescued it, she said, beaming. It was sitting right in the sun. Creams can spoil, you know. I put it in my fridge for you. She turned around and walked into her kitchen. I stood in her doorway, seething. I looked around her living room. It was creepy. It was like a museum. Plastic on the lampshades. Dolls. Lots of porcelain dolls staring at me. She came back with my box. It was opened. Why is it open? I asked, my voice shaking. I had to check to see if it was perishable, she said smoothly. And I noticed you bought the retinol cream. You know, at your age, you really should be using something more hydrating. That stuff is too harsh. It'll make your skin flake. I snatched the box from her. Don't ever touch my mail again. That is a federal crime, Linda. Do you understand? It's illegal. I was being neighborly. She called after me as I walked away. You're so ungrateful. When I told Mark, he finally started to look a little worried. She opened it? He asked. Yes, she opened it. She put my face cream in her fridge next to her bologna. Okay, he said. That's weird. That's crossing a line. The kitchen wasn't crossing a line? This is different, he admitted. The kitchen was cleaning. This is theft. We agreed to get a Ring doorbell. I thought that would be the end of it. A camera is a deterrent, right? Wrong. 2 nights ago, the camera alerted me at 3 a.m. Mark was asleep. I grabbed my phone. It was Linda. She was standing on our porch in her nightgown. Just standing there. Staring at the door. She stood there for 4 minutes, completely motionless, then turned around and walked away. I showed Mark in the morning. He went pale. Okay, he said. We need to talk to her. He went over there before work. He came back looking confused. What did she say? I asked. She said she heard a noise and was checking to make sure we were safe, Mark said. She seemed genuinely worried. She said she thought she heard you screaming. I wasn't screaming. We were asleep. She's escalating, and I don't feel safe in my own home. Update 2. I am literally trembling as I type this. The police just left. Things have gone completely off the rails. After the 3 a.m. incident, Mark and I decided to ice her out completely. No waves, no small talk. If she was in the yard, we went inside. We installed 2 more cameras covering the backyard and the driveway. Linda didn't like the silence. She started leaving notes on our windshields. Your grass is looking yellow. Maybe water it more. I saw you throwing away glass in the regular trash. We recycle here. Mark looks tired. Are you feeding him enough iron? That last one set me off, but I kept my mouth shut. I was documenting everything. I started a logbook. Dates, times, incidents. Then came this past Saturday. Mark was at golf. I was home alone, cleaning the house, my way. I went down to the basement to put in a load of laundry. My basement has those small, ground-level windows that look out into the backyard. As I was loading the washer, a shadow fell over the window. I looked up. Linda was on her hands and knees in the dirt, her face pressed against the glass, peering in at me. I screamed. I dropped the detergent. She didn't move. She just stared. Her eyes were wide, unblinking. She tapped on the glass. Tap. 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 I ran upstairs, locked the basement door, irrational, I know, but I was panicked, and called Mark. She's looking in the basement window. Come home. Then I called the non-emergency police line. I told them I had a trespasser who wouldn't leave. While I was on the phone, I heard the back door handle jiggle. I froze. I had locked it, right? I always lock it. Jiggle. Jiggle. Thump. She was trying to get in. She's trying to enter the house, I told the dispatcher, my voice cracking. Please send someone. I grabbed a baseball bat from the hall closet and stood in the middle of the living room, staring at the back door. Suddenly, I saw her face at the back door window. She was cupping her hands around her eyes, looking in. She saw me holding the bat. She started yelling through the glass. I know you're in there. Open up. I need to check the pilot light. I smell gas. You're going to blow the neighborhood up. There was no gas smell. Everything is electric in our house except the furnace, which wasn't running. Go away, Linda. I screamed. I'm calling the police. You're hysterical, she yelled back. Just like your mother. I stopped. My blood ran cold. My mother died 10 years ago. I have never mentioned my mother to Linda. Not once. The police arrived about 10 minutes later. By then, Linda was sitting on my patio furniture, calmly reading a magazine she had brought with her, as if she hadn't just been trying to break into my house. I went out with the officers. Mark pulled into the driveway at the same time, running into the backyard. Ma'am, the homeowner says you were peering in windows and trying to open doors, the officer said. Linda looked up, looking like a confused grandma. Oh, officer, don't be silly. I smelled gas. I was worried for her safety. She's not. Quite right. She tapped her temple and pointed at me. She imagines things. I think she's off her meds. I almost lunged at her. Mark held me back. She's not on meds, Linda. And you need to stay off our property. The officer took our statements. He watched the ring footage of her trying the door. He saw the video of her at the basement window. His demeanor changed from neighbor dispute to this lady is a problem. They trespassed her. Officially. They told her if she steps 1 foot on our property again, she will be arrested. As she walked back to her house, she stopped at the property line and looked at Mark. I just feel so sorry for you, Mark, she said, her voice trembling with fake emotion. Stuck with a woman who doesn't know how to take care of a home. If you ever need a hot meal, you know where I am. Mark looked her dead in the eye and said, if you ever come near my wife again, I will file for a restraining order so fast your head will spin. Stay away from us. She smirked. It was a subtle, tiny thing, but I saw it. Then she went inside. We thought that was the climax. We thought the police warning would scare her. We were so wrong. Last night, I woke up because the dog was barking. We got a dog a week ago, a German Shepherd mix, specifically for protection. He was going nuts at the back door. I checked the cameras on my phone. The backyard camera was black. I woke Mark. The camera is out. He checked his app. Maybe the battery died? We just charged it. We went downstairs, Mark with the bat, me with the phone ready to dial 911. We turned on the floodlights. The camera wasn't dead. It had been spray painted. And on the back patio, arranged in a perfect circle, were all of my potted plants. The ones she had watered while we were in Italy. Every single one of them had been pulled out of the pot, the roots chopped off, and placed back in the dirt. Dead. Murdered plants. And in the center of the circle was a photo. We didn't go out. We called the cops immediately. They came out, took photos, took the report. It's vandalism and harassment now. But when the officer picked up the photo in the center of the dead plants, he showed it to us with a grim face. It was a picture of Mark and me from our wedding. But my face had been cut out. Carefully, surgically removed with an X-Acto knife. And in the empty space where my face used to be, someone had pasted a picture of Linda. A picture of Linda from decades ago. She looked young, maybe in her 30s. The cop bagged it as evidence. He told us, "You need to get a restraining order tomorrow morning. This isn't a neighbor dispute anymore. This is stalking." We didn't sleep. We're at the courthouse now waiting to see a judge. But here is the part that is making me sick to my stomach. I showed the photo of young Linda to my aunt this morning, just texting it to her to show her the crazy. My aunt called me immediately. "Where did you get that picture?" she asked. "It's the neighbor," I said. "Why?" "That's not just your neighbor," my aunt said. "That woman looks exactly like the woman who dated your father before he met your mother. The one who burned his clothes when he broke up with her. My dad died 3 years ago. I never knew about an ex-girlfriend." I am staring at the courtroom doors and I feel like I'm in a horror movie. Linda isn't just a random crazy neighbor. She knows who I am. Update 3. This is going to be long, and it is going to be messy. I am writing this from a hotel room. We haven't been home in 2 days. The restraining order was granted. The judge looked at the photos of the cutout face, the police report about the gas leak break-in attempt, and the vandalism, and granted an emergency temporary protective order immediately. Linda cannot come within 500 feet of us or our home. The sheriff served her the papers 2 days ago. Mark and I were home when it happened. We wanted to be there to ensure she understood. We watched from the window, safely behind blinds. When the deputy handed her the papers, she didn't scream. She didn't cry. She laughed. She took the papers, tore them in half, and threw them on the ground. The deputy immediately got in her face, likely telling her that tearing them up doesn't make them void. She started pointing at our house, screaming. We couldn't hear the words through the glass, but the rage was palpable. Her face was purple. The deputy arrested her. I felt a wave of relief so strong I almost collapsed. They handcuffed her and put her in the car. We watched them drive away. "It's over," Mark said, hugging me. "She's gone. We thought we were safe. We packed a bag to go stay at a hotel just to decompress for the night, feeling like we had won. But while we were packing, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. "Hello?" "She knows about the baby." It was a whisper. A woman's voice. "Who is this?" I demanded. "I used to live in your house," the voice said. "Before you. The reason we moved was her. Linda. She listens." "Who is this?" I asked again, putting it on speaker so Mark could hear. "My name is Sarah. I saw your post on the community Facebook page about the vandalism. Look, you need to know. She has listening devices." My blood ran cold. "What?" "She drilled through the shared wall in the attic," Sarah said. "We found it when we moved out. A small hole. She had a microphone in there. She hears everything. That's how she knew about your trip. That's how she knows your schedule. And she knows about the baby." I dropped the phone. "I'm pregnant. I found out 3 days ago. I haven't told anyone. I haven't told my aunt. I haven't told my friends. I only told Mark, in the privacy of our master bedroom, the night before the vandalism occurred. We whispered it. We were crying happy tears. If Sarah was right. Linda heard us." Mark ran to the attic. He took a flashlight. He was up there for 10 minutes. I heard him cursing. He came down holding a small, black wire. "It runs through the insulation," he said, his face gray. "It goes right through the firewall. There's a tiny hole drilled through the brick. She has been listening to us. The whole time. The comments about Mark looks tired, the knowledge of my mother, the check dates on the food. She wasn't guessing. She was listening. And she knows I'm pregnant." We called the police back. They added wiretapping/surveillance charges to her booking. They assured us she would be held overnight, maybe longer because of the severity of the privacy violation. We left. We went to this hotel. But here is where it ends on a terrifying note. This morning, I got a call from the jail. Victim Services. They wanted to let me know that Linda had made bail. A nephew of hers posted it. She was released an hour ago. I panicked. But the restraining order. "She has been instructed not to return to the residence," the lady said. "But we are notifying you for your safety." Mark called the neighbor on the other side, not Linda, the nice one, Bob. "Bob, is Linda home?" "I don't see her car," Bob said. "But, Mark?" "Yeah? Your front door is open." Mark and I looked at each other. We have the only keys. The police have a copy now, but they wouldn't leave it open. Bob, call the police, Mark said. I'm looking at it now, Bob said, his voice dropping. Mark, there's smoke coming out of your front door. We are rushing back to the house now. The fire department is on the way. I am watching the Ring camera feed on my phone. The camera is blurry because of the smoke, but I can see a figure in the living room. It's Linda. She's sitting in my rocking chair. The one I bought for the nursery. And she's knitting. The house is filling with smoke, and she is just sitting there, knitting something blue. I don't know what she set on fire. I don't know if my house is going to stand. I don't know if she's going to come out alive. We are 2 minutes away. I can see the smoke rising over the trees. I have to go. Update 4. I am writing this on my phone from the hospital waiting room. I can barely see the screen through my tears and the soot on my glasses, but I need to get this out because if something happens to him. If something happens. We pulled up to the house at the same time as the fire trucks. The smoke was thick, black, rolling out of the front door and the upstairs windows. My beautiful forever home. My sanctuary. It looked like a chimney. The police were already there, guns drawn, shouting at the front door. Linda. Come out. Put your hands up. She didn't come out. Mark jumped out of the car before I could stop him. She's in there. He screamed at the cops. She's in the living room. The fire was spreading fast. I could see the orange glow licking up the curtains in the bay window. Stay back, sir. A cop yelled, grabbing Mark. But then we heard it. A scream. Not from Linda. From inside the garage. Our dog. Ranger. We had left him in the garage with his crate and water because we thought we'd only be gone a night and the hotel didn't allow pets. We thought the garage was safe. The fire had obviously started in the main house, but the smoke was seeping into the garage. Mark broke free from the cop. He didn't run for the front door where Linda was. He ran for the side door of the garage. Mark, no. I screamed. I tried to run after him, but an officer tackled me, literally tackled me, to the ground. Let him go. I shrieked. My husband is in there. I watched Mark kick the side door in. Smoke billowed out. He disappeared into the gray. 30 seconds. It felt like 30 years. The front windows blew out. Boom. Glass shattered everywhere. The fire had hit something accelerant heavy. Then, from the smoke of the garage, Mark stumbled out. He was coughing, dragging Ranger's crate. He got about 10 feet onto the grass and collapsed. Paramedics swarmed him. I scrambled up and ran to him. He was covered in soot, his eyes red and swollen, gasping for air. But he was alive. Ranger was barking wildly in the crate, terrified but okay. But the house. The firefighters were suiting up, hoses blasting. 2 of them went into the front door to get Linda. They dragged her out a minute later. She wasn't fighting. She wasn't screaming. She was limp. They laid her on the grass, away from Mark. They started CPR. I watched as they did chest compressions on the woman who had terrorized us for months. The woman who drilled a hole in my wall. The woman who wanted my life. And as they ripped open her blouse to put the defibrillator pads on, something fell out of her pocket. It was a baby booty. A blue knitted baby booty. The one she was knitting in the rocking chair. They got a pulse. They loaded her into an ambulance. They loaded Mark into another one for smoke inhalation. I'm here with Mark now. He's on oxygen, conscious, but his throat is burned. The doctors say he'll be okay. But a detective just walked in. He looks grim. Mrs. Last name? He asked. Yes? We put the fire out, he said. The arson investigator is looking at it now, but we found something in Linda's house. Her house? We had to clear it to make sure the fire didn't spread, he explained. We found a room. A room? A nursery, he said. Set up exactly like the one in your house. Same paint color. Same crib. And on the wall. She had photos. He hesitated. Photos of what? I asked. Photos of you, he said softly. Sleeping. I nearly vomited. Sleeping? Taken from inside your bedroom, he said. We think she had a key a long time ago. Before you changed the locks. Or she made a copy when she was watering your plants. She's been coming into your house while you were asleep. I feel dirty. I feel sick. I feel like my skin is crawling. She was in our room. While we slept. Is she going to die? I asked. She's in critical condition, the detective said. Severe smoke inhalation. Burns. I don't know what I want the answer to be. I want her gone. I want her dead. God forgive me, I do. But then the detective's radio went off. He listened to the static voice for a second, then looked at me. We need to move you, he said. Why? Linda just woke up, he said. She's not in the burn unit. She's in the ICU down the hall. And she's screaming. Screaming what? She's screaming that you stole her baby. And she's screaming for Mark. The detective looked down at his notepad. And she's telling the nurses that she's Mark's wife. I looked at Mark, lying in the hospital bed, his eyes closed. She thinks she's you, the detective said. She truly believes she is you. I can hear shouting down the hall. A code violent patient, just got called over the intercom. I have to go. The detective is moving us to a secure floor. I don't think this is over. She's alive. And she thinks my life is hers. Hi there, if you made it so far. Consider dropping a like and maybe subscribing. Thanks. And have a nice one.